I'll be very brief.
And as Wadi as...
I'll be very brief, Your Excellency. Thank you again. Thank you, members of this national dialogue. The one that I want us to correct from the onset is where Honorable Ichungwa did raise a concern about a bit of misinformation regarding what Citizen and KPC have published, that because the Financial Times did put an article which I expect the Fourth Estate to have read, that if the Hamas-Israeli war continues, in the coming months we are likely to see an accelerated increase in the prices of petroleum product, and that could go as high as $150 per barrel, not $150 per liter, as published by KBC. And it's basically looking at the future. It's an article which is published. Your Excellency, it is geopolitics which we are discussing in this room today, to the extent that the pricing of petroleum products has exacerbated the depreciation of the shilling in the last short while by about 25%. That's why CS Treasurer was saying, even if everything remained the same, the 25% depreciation would still cause the pain that we are discussing today. So we will need that correction so that we don't basically send the wrong information. With respect to Your Excellencies and honorable members, the geopolitics which really impacted on what my colleague called the need to...
Sorry, coaches, I didn't get CS Chirchir clearly from what you said and what is misleading, because we also don't want to accuse the media unfairly. They've been part of this journey. They are here with us until the end of this journey. I was just listening to what you were saying. I want you to tell us what you think was misleading.
To $80 to $90, and I read an article in the Financial Times the other day because of the Hamas and Israeli war, that that the international prices could go up to $150, and that would literally mean our products going to a high of 300 shillings per liter at the pump. We hope it doesn't.
Per liter at the pump. So where are you saying was misreported? Because we don't want to be unfair to our media. They are our partners.
Thank you for playing that, because that's accurate. Yes. The $150, we don't buy products out in the international market on the liter. We buy on the barrel. So the $150 is referring to the barrel and not to the liter, because the products are not traded internationally on liters. It's traded on barrels. And the article, like I said, it's published in the Financial Times, and I didn't quote Financial Times, does talk to the pricing is likely to go to $150 per barrel in the coming months. And that, when you bring to the liter in the market, is likely to really continue accelerating the price to the liter at the pump. And it could go as high. And it could go as high as $300.
300 shillings per liter. This is what has been reported. And it comes quite close to what Moses Kuria said, that it will be increasing, and he put it up to 260, which is not far from what you're saying. So we don't want the media to be accused unfairly. What is misleading
I think
about
also
that?
you have to be fair.
I think
we have corrected perceptions on the media here on many occasions that the media has inaccurately reported. When Chirchir tries to correct perception, no, because this was raised by Ishungwa, so as for him to clarify. So suddenly when they are Chirchir and Kenya Kwanza is clarifying a misinformation, it is about independence of media.
Order.
I understood it the same way he's just clarified it.
Hassan,
No. Be fair to people.
No, I think Hassan, take it easy. Davis, please continue and avoid reference to Kenya Kwanza. We are here as a committee.
National Kenya Kwanza issue.
Please.
Whether you are Mio or Kenya Kwanza, you're doing the same.
It is a government of Kenya issue. It is a Kenya Kwanza issue. But what he said is exactly what he has clarified.
Allow him to clarify.
No, he has clarified.
Your Excellency, I have it here in writing. Yeah. It has been thrown out there by KPC. It is written, Energy CS Chirchir says the war between Israeli Hamas could see fuel rise to $150 US dollar per liter. It is in writing. So you could also validate that.
I think you've done the
Thank you.
clarification. Let's move.
So, Your Excellency and honorable members, I was basically saying the geopolitics and particularly the post-recovery from COVID is what has really, and we talked so much about the tightening of the monetary policy. In fact, if we didn't do what we did in Kenya, and which Uganda is trying to do, what Tanzania is trying to do, I bet the dollar to the shilling today will be way above 200. And I stand to be guided on that. The point here, Chair, and I'll take all the G2G questions because they've been raised by all the honorable members, so I take it in one hit. It's basically, remember, in May, June last year, before we went for elections, we were having stockouts in the whole country. And honorable members with our big cars were running around with jerrycans to stock fuel in their houses. And the oil marketing companies were arrested because we believe that they were holding petroleum when they actually did not have the dollars to offtake the product from Mombasa. At the time, Your Excellency and honorable members, we did the G2G. One company and a number of them bought the dollar at 149 as early as April. The situation was dire, let's not forget. So doing G2G for Kenya was one innovative way as an intervention. We did not expect that the tightening of the monetary policy will go on for 2, 3, 4 years. But it will be really lack of foresight for us as leadership, not like UK did not react immediately and the dollar became stronger than the sterling pound. We reacted to basically forestall the exiting of $500 million every month, like I did indicate in my earlier opening statement, by ensuring that we could delay the dollar exiting the country, allow those dollars to play in the macro areas of the economy, food security, medicine, expatriation of the profit by other companies, rewinding of the what do you call of the swaps, but more importantly, ensuring that we are able to hold the country together and kill what is still obtaining today, which is the interbank rate, which was trading at a high of 15%. You go and sell your dollars, you're given 130. You go to buy, you are told the price is 145. And that came down to a differential of about 3 shillings, which is what we know. So having said that, I think it's important to basically say it was an intervention. If the tightening of the monetary is eased today, there is no reason why we will not go back to OTS. And more importantly, our G2G trades on the platform of OTS. It is an open tender. We did have the governments who are supplying to compete. It is not a government to government per se, in that, like I said, it is off balance sheet. Government don't trade in petroleum. It is still traded by the oil marketing companies who work with the international oil marketing companies who are owned by other governments, and the only G2G is coming in to do an MOU and to do a framework agreement, but the commercial agreement is being left to be done by the local oil marketing companies and the international government-owned oil companies who are giving us the product. And I'm giving this background because it will be important in the context of what's happening in Uganda today. And being a sovereign state, and we've presented a cabinet paper to support what they are doing. And I want to say, Your Excellency, because you asked this question, we've worked very closely with my colleague from Uganda for the last almost 6-7 months in trying to understand and go this route. Because Uganda, with their refinery and the fact that they want to export products, want to build their UNOC. UNOC is Uganda National Oil Company. And they want to kind of get capacity to be able to handle products like the way we do in Kenya. And what has then since happened is, like we did change the regulations to allow G2G to trade, because it was only an OTS. Our regulations only allowed the OTS frame to be able to trade in this space, and we did amend our regulations. What Uganda is currently doing is amending their act, Petroleum Act, to allow UNOC to bring products to Uganda as on Uganda balance sheet. I think it's important to say that, though I did say I don't want to really go much into. So Uganda, unlike what we do here, will be bringing products into Uganda and expiring the trading by the oil companies in Uganda. So the bill is in the House. There's need for some marketing for the thing to go through the House, but I don't want to go into that space. But so much to say, it's a space we have worked together very closely. In our cabinet paper, if I picked one sentence, Kenya will stand to benefit because today 90% of products in Uganda are traded through our pipeline in Kenya and Mombasa port. And when they do what they are doing, 100% of the product, including the 10% which comes into Uganda through Tanzania or Dar es Salaam, will all come through Kenya. So there is absolutely nothing wrong in what Uganda is doing. To the extent that we might see a slow in the dollar, which is coming because of the export products, and which I did say the DPK is still trading on the dollar anyway, that was the situation on the OTS. The dollars were exiting immediately. They were not sitting in our economy for 1 minute. Under the OTS, it's spot purchase. The dollars were being paid to the international oil marketing companies, unlike today when we are withholding the dollars for at least 180 days and using those dollars to support the economy in terms of the liquidity of the dollar and the benefits that I talked about, including the depreciation that I have asked my colleague to talk to in terms of 3% depreciation to 1%, and those are numbers from Central Bank. So, Your Excellency and honorable members, the G2G, in our view, is really help the country. We need to possibly spend more time to look at the details. As we speak today, we have brought in 42 cargoes through G2G and sitting on some 3.4 billion, which could have exited the economy immediately, and which I did say on the T-bill -2 or SOFRA -2, it is sitting in the economy, and whatever interest we earn, we are taking to the PAM to support on the depreciation of the shilling, which is also part of why the prices are going up in this time because of the challenges that we faced, like has been mentioned. The issue of subsidy, as raised by Senator Mugeni, is something that we did say we don't want to do subsidy, but we have a stabilization fund. The stabilization fund takes 5.4 shillings per litre of diesel and petrol, and that fund collects about 2.4 billion every month. That savings as a levy under the PDL regulations as provided is used during such difficult times. And last month we did employ, the current month we did employ, for example, 1.77 billion to reduce the price of diesel from what would have been 16 shillings to 5 shillings. The price of petrol, what would have been 12 shillings, we reduced it to 6 shillings, and so on and so forth. So we are conscious, Mheshimiwa, honorable members, about the plight of the cost of living, and we continue to address that and mitigate, albeit the challenge the whole world is facing today. As regarding anything else on G2G which I have not touched, and so that I can touch on power, I did ask my team to put up one slide because earlier on I didn't show the slides. I've got one slide on power. If you allow me to answer most of the questions on energy, I don't know whether I can get that up, somebody from behind here. And what do I want to say here? On energy, Your Excellency, I wish we had done the 5,000 megawatts in 2013. We didn't do it, Ethiopia did it. They are exporting power to us today. We have energy insecurity today. We have very high cost of energy because we are running diesel, like I'm showing you on that one slide. Just go to the maybe the third page. Let's look at that. From hydro today, and that's the only slide I'm going to use to answer this question. From hydro, we have an installed capacity of 784, but because of the hydrology, it is performing at 68% at 532. So So we don't have some 250 megawatts because of hydrology. And in the lower slide, you'll see Masinga developing 0 today. We don't have water in Masinga. In geothermal, it's developing at 80% because of some maintenance and upgrades going on. That is what is helping us. Look at thermal. Thermal is developing 92%. The most expensive power plants are what is running the economy today. So if we had our geothermal developed, we can even expire the geothermal today. How can you expire it when it is what is running the economy? But it is running at 30 shillings, at 40 shillings, at 50 shillings. Look at wind and solar, the place we praise very much. At peak hour, there is absolutely no solar in the evening, during the peak. And that is why we talk to Your Excellency, the storage. We need storage so that we can store during the day and use it during peak hours and so on and so forth. Look at what I've just talked to. Ethiopia exporting power to Kenya, 200 megawatts, because we didn't develop our own. And we have gone there to ask them to sell us more, because let's see the final slide. Look at Masinga developing 0 and going all the way down. Let's go to the the totals. And what do I want? Those are the solars not developing. Let's see the totals at the bottom. I wanted to see the 2,136 capacity of available capacity, and today we need 2,000, almost 2,200. So we are already energy short, and that creates a problem. We cannot avoid running the diesel engines. That is where we are. The available capacity today is 2136 during peak hour. We need about 2170, which we don't have. So we are not in a very good place. We are working around the clock to bring some of the geothermal which are almost on. We've got, of course, the moratorium that I talked about earlier. But Your Excellency, let me also say, during the visit of His Majesty, the King, a few days ago, we did talk to High Grand Falls. We've got investors from the UK, and High Grand Falls, 700 to 1,000 megawatts is high on the agenda. There is funding for that. We just have to do what we must do to walk the journey to make sure we get the right pricing of energy. But that is on the radar, and we are working on that. Let me also say on the cost of power that, Honorable Member, 65% of the revenues Kenya Power collects is used to compensate generation, power generation. And the 35% then goes into all the other things. The more important thing which I want to mention here, and I think it is very important, is the reforms which we are undertaking in Kenya Power and Lighting. And one of them is the fact that Kenya Power today buys some 12,000 gigawatts of energy, and they only sell about 9,000. So we are unable to account for 3,000 gigawatts. 25% of the energy that we pay the generators for, we don't sell. Either it gets lost in transmission losses, commercial losses, which includes theft of energy, and so on and so forth. We've asked Kenya Power through a cabinet-approved paper that we need to bring down the power losses to 16% from 23%. We are restructuring Kenya Power to bring in knowledge and capacity of the minority shareholders who own 49.9% against the government shareholding of 50.01. And where today we do nominate all the directors to the board in spite of the 49.9% shareholder. So we have amended the articles of memorandum and articles of association, and very shortly, I think on 10th of next month or this month, 10th of this month, we'll be having a special AGM to adopt the amended memorandum and articles of association that will then be used to bring 4 directors to represent the minority and 5 directors to represent government, and therefore infuse the capacity of the business people who have invested in Kenya Power to make sure that the governance issues are addressed, all these power losses are addressed. We are also restructuring their balance sheet to get a better debt equity ratio by moving assets which ordinarily should under the what you call the decoupled, or what do I want, the word I'm looking for is the power sector in Kenya is basically unbundled. We have the generators, we have the transmission, and we have the off-taker. Kenya Power is an off-taker is still doing transmission today. And some of those assets which are sitting in their books should go to get track of the transmitter. We do the bookkeeping and ensure that we get a debt equity ratio that can give them a healthy balance sheet that can go to the market and do what it must do with the infusion of the capacity management having introduced the minority shareholder. But more importantly, World Bank is then coming in to give us a delivery-based facility that will ensure that for all these deliverables, they are able to support us to address some of these things so that we can truly achieve the 16% power losses, working down to ensure that you do not pay for losses, because at the moment we pay for up to 25% of power losses, which is really lost in the system because of poor network, transmission, commercial, or theft of power, and so on and so forth. I want to beg to stop there, but thank you.
Thank you. We thank you, Waziri Davis. And now go to CS Longo.
Thank you very much, and I do believe that there are several questions that have been shared. So let me stick to how they have come through, and then I hope I'll be efficient. The starting one was with Mheshimiwa Kimani Ichung'wah, the majority leader, and he talked
Can I just add one so that you can clear the air?
Okay.
As far as Kenyans are concerned, that did you get government-to-government help with regard to fertilizer? Because we heard it from President Putin when he hosted the Africa-Russia summit, that he gave so many tons of fertilizer